Good morning, Renee. How are you doing?
I'm good. Morning. How are you, Cheryl?
I'm very well. Welcome to Virtual Coffee, and I think we've got our little tea cups here,
Yes,
so it should be virtual tea.
we do.
And how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. For Facebook land, Renee is from Umbrella 90, which is a digital marketing agency in Melbourne. And Renee is part of a partnership of three very, very talented marketers. We've had CEO on the series before. We haven't had Andy as yet, so that might be a next one.
Could
But
be a next one.
she plays the role of pretty much the copywriter and the storyteller. Um, and the one thing that I know a lot of our business owners struggle with is content. And I'd love to get your tips, tricks, and thoughts on how people can sort of get more comfortable with content creation and why, and again, why it's important as
Mm,
part of your marketing.
definitely, definitely. So I think the when it comes to content creation, a really good place to start is actually changing how we think about content. Because often we think about content as something that we have to do.
Mm.
It's something that um, we've got a million and one thing, other things going on in our business, and we need to that's just something on top of the never ending to do list. But the way that I like to see content now, it's more about helping people who need the help. So when
Mm.
you're creating a video, a Facebook post, a LinkedIn post, whatever you're creating that little nugget of gold that's going to help someone have a little epiphany, have a little aha moment, and that was that's a really that's I found a really useful way to think about content rather as something that you sort of have to do. And I know we're all so busy these days, but just thinking about it as a way to help people and really show complete strangers out there that you can really help them.
Mm.
Um, and that's been a very useful shift for lots of our clients as well.
Yeah, and so we're coming from the place of how can I solve problems
Yeah,
for people?
yeah.
And so how do you the one thing that I know I used to struggle with was, okay, what sort of problems do people have to start off with, and how do I talk about them as well? Like, how much do I talk about, and is it going to be relevant to people, and how, you know even that initial process of finding out what is, what are people struggling with, how do you do that?
Definitely. So the easiest place to start is with the clients that you're already serving or the people that you're already working with. Because what we don't realize is that we actually solve multiple problems every single day for real people, and all of
Mm.
those problems are relevant. So if you know, you get off a Zoom meeting, it's all Zoom at the moment, but if you get off a Zoom meeting and you've helped someone solve a problem, that's a perfect piece of content to talk about.
Yeah.
That's a perfect problem to talk about. Obviously, you don't need to talk specifics, but you don't need to talk about that exact situation, but you talk about that problem.
Mm.
And that's a really easy way to come up with content ideas. And if someone's experiencing that problem now, it's going to be relevant to other people too.
Yeah, okay. And so what are good ways? Because I did say, for example, a quick little live yesterday around strategy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it also came out of actually a call that I had with CEO as well, and also a personal story. It was actually that my son was, it was a little story about him telling us to use the roundabout, and it was on round, sometimes we're so um almost blinded by the path that we're on, we don't see that there might be another more efficient way to do it. Whereas my son, who, had his eyes wide open, was
Mm-hmm.
able to look and go, why don't you take that way? And then you'll get you closer. And they were like, oh my goodness, 5 years we've been doing this. And so I sort of related that to business. And so is that sort of what you're talking about and going, all right, little nuggets there, but little lessons.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's about making content as simple and easy as possible. It doesn't have to be a big monster that it can sometimes feel like.
Mm,
Um, it's really about taking the little lessons that you give to people every single day and just writing a very or shooting a video about that problem. And then once you start to get into the habit of that, you can actually turn that into a system that makes creating content across multiple platforms easier. So say that we have a really good conversation here, a
mm,
little aha moment goes off in my head. I might go away after this and write a short post for Facebook about
mm,
something that we learned together.
mm.
Then I might take that little post and then I might change it or even post the same thing on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Then maybe next week I might record a video of me talking about that same problem. I'd send out an email to our list,
Mm,
a link to that video that I was talking about. So you can kind of see how you can use, and that's 4 or 5 pieces of content with just one content idea. And that content idea came from a really simple conversation me and you are having right now. And you have those conversations
yes.
almost every single day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then and it goes through, I mean, just when you mentioned 4 different channels,
Mm,
there's so many different channels that you can send it out through. Um, how do you, when, in your daily life and noting that some people might not, we'll say time, have the time to be, they might go find a piece of content here and there. What is the best way to record the ideas that they've got? Because there might be 10 different things that come up in there, and they go, I can't talk about them all at once. How do you sort of note take or file?
definitely. So you're always going to have more ideas than you'll be able to execute on.
Yeah. Yes.
um, and the way that I personally do it is go with the idea with the least resistance, the idea that is the simplest for you to execute. It can be literally as simple as you pulling out your phone and recording yourself talking for 2 minutes or three
Mm,
minutes. And that's you can either choose to post that, or you can choose as a piece of content, or you can choose to take that and then turn it into something more polished on the time depending on the time that you have.
mm,
And often you'll find if you just take out your phone and start recording a video of yourself, you'll find that one content topic will split into like 5 other different content topics,
yeah.
into
Yeah.
5 other things to talk about as well. So I guess I like to go the path of least resistance. So whichever topic you felt had the most impact on your day, the biggest aha moment, what really hit home for some of the people that you're working with.
Mm.
It's just a judgment call and trying uh, different topics and seeing what people respond to.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And also, I mean, different deliveries, right? There's videos. And have you found like the difference in that engagement between a Facebook Live or pre-recorded video or just a long or short form Facebook post?
Definitely. So each of them serves a slightly different purpose, and each of them will speak to slightly different people. So
Mm,
video is probably our highest performing content, whether it's live or whether it's pre-recorded. It depends on your brand, the image that you're putting out there, what you want. We like to do a mix of just the candid, live,
mm,
real
yeah.
content, and then obviously we've got Andy and his video. The video is absolutely amazing, so we like to have that blend of the very real and then the very professional.
Yes.
um, it depends what you there's no real right or wrong when it comes to that, which is probably why it can be confusing of where do I start, what do I do.
Yes. Yes.
um, but I think the medium is probably less important than the actual contents of what you're putting out there. So if you've solved a problem for someone in your day, I would highly recommend making a video about it, even if it's a very candid with your phone, 3 minutes talking about it.
Mm,
That's going to connect with a lot of people. And when you talk authentically in a video, people get a sense of who you are. Um, they'll see you. You'll be
mm,
visible, which is
mm,
really, really important. And once you get over or if and a lot of us already make video, but sometimes it takes a bit of time to get over the weirdness of going live or
mm.
talking to a camera can seem really strange. But it's a very, very powerful way to connect with people who you might be able to help in the future.
Yeah. You talk about real and being authentic. Um, I think we often think that if we're doing video, it needs to be that polished presentation, the background needs to be right and everything else.
Yeah.
Is that the case, or why is it so powerful that we can allow ourselves to be who we are, makeup free, hair everywhere, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I understand. So at the end of the day, people connect with people, and
Mm,
when we're on an online platform, it's we don't have that one-to-one connection in the same way, because when you're in a room, you can feel the presence. There's a connection
mm,
between people, but when you're online, you don't have that. So what are authentic, being real, being telling real stories about yourself, sharing things about your experiences, that creates that same level of connection as if you were in the room with someone.
mm,
And and that's something that I don't think has quite caught on yet. It has in some areas, but a lot of people haven't caught on to the fact that yes, a polished video can make you look very professional, provide social proof. It does a lot in terms of positioning you as an expert, and that's very important. But what it doesn't take care of is the emotional side and the connection,
mm.
and the connection side of things. And a really just a genuine video of you talking as you normally talk makes people feel like they know you at a personal level, and you'll
Yeah.
start to have conversations with people, and people will get on the phone and they'll act as if they already know who you are,
Yes. Mm.
because they've just seen you having a chat with them in a very real, very authentic way.
That's such a you make the point about people feel that they already know you, and
Mm,
that's one thing that I've noticed. Like I have people that reach out, and to be honest, because we make so many connections on social media these days, you sort of forget who you've chatted to or who you have met or haven't met. So everyone's a friend in any case, right? But I do love, like you said, it helps them feel comfortable that they know you to a certain extent, because at the end of the day, business is about trust and credibility, and people do business with those who they trust.
exactly, exactly. And I think and people are very skeptical these days, or
Mm,
people can be very skeptical. So that trust is even more important these days. And the way that you build that trust is just to show that you're a real person, and you're doing this for a very important reason. This is part of why um, sharing stories within your content is such a powerful connection tool, because it builds trust at a whole nother level.
mm,
And like I like to make the distinction between content, sort of how to content, and then storytelling content. And
yes.
again, both of them have a place, but our safe zone is often the how to, the solutions, very logic based. But when you go into storytelling content, which are, like we've been talking about, the lessons that you've learned,
Mm,
previous experiences, the problems that you've solved, but from a personal perspective, that creates a very, very strong level of connection online. And you don't need to have met people face to face to have that connection and feel that connection.
yeah, absolutely. And there's always going to be someone that I've noticed. There's always be someone that resonates with that message. in some form. Um, and so that's why I think, even if your message is not polished, and I have to say my message is seldom polished. I ramble a bit, I repeat myself, but I think people feel sorry for me as well, and they'll go, "Hello, how you doing?" I had Sean say, "I really like your haircut. I haven't cut my hair." But thank you for listening. And Sean's watching as well. But that whole connection where people also can feel like if you're being genuine and you're wanting to help.
Mm,
And one day your message might be a little bit all over the place, but then the next day it might be right on point. And so let's talk about sort of being on point and looking at the different platforms that we are delivering content as well. Say with Facebook and LinkedIn, are there different ways that you deliver content, and because of the I'd sort of say, is there a different audience?
say this is another sort of yes and no question
Yeah.
or answer. Yes, there are slight differences between Facebook and LinkedIn because the people go onto Facebook in a particular mindset. It's a very social mindset. It's a very family-based mindset. They're not really, or unless you use Facebook in a particular way,
Mm,
but you go onto Facebook in a particular mindset, and then when you switch to something like LinkedIn, your headspace is a little bit different. So
mm,
you're a little bit more, you've got a little bit more of that professional feel. You're on there a little bit more for business. But the commonality between the two is that people are still people, and in a very they'll respond they'll still respond to genuine, authentic content. So the thing that I like to say to people is don't overthink the difference between the platforms. Like I often use Facebook as a testing ground. I just put
mm.
everything out on Facebook, and then the posts that do really well, the posts that get a really good response, I then just literally exactly the same post onto LinkedIn.
Yeah, right.
Um,
The not so good
videos,
ones sort of stay in Facebook.
yeah, or the ones that didn't quite hit home, the ones where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
jumbled up all your words, or
yeah,
there were noises going on in the background. Oh, actually,
yes.
I post the noises in the background on LinkedIn as well. But but it's sort of, I like to use Facebook as the testing ground for
Mm,
content because there's a lot more, people are very forgiving um, on these kinds of platforms. And if you're not perfectly polished, that's okay. And sometimes people will like you more for that
mm,
fact.
mm.
And I used to have the perception that LinkedIn was purely business and had to be very, very professional. But then we spoke with someone who specializes in LinkedIn, and she actually said, yeah, there's that perception, but at the end of the day, the same thing. People are people, and they
People
want
are
to
people.
connect at a genuine level. So
Yes.
um, you can tweak the content for different platforms if you want to, but
Mm,
if you're struggling to put out content to begin with, just start simple and start with one platform at a time is also really helpful. So decide,
mm,
I'm just going to focus on LinkedIn. I'm going to post once a week or even once a fortnight if that's too much. One video, one thought piece, just on LinkedIn or just on Facebook or just via email. So pick one platform at a time. Create a habit. Create a habit with your content, and then once you're comfortable and settled in that habit, then you can move on to another platform.
yeah.
Because with yeah.
Unless you've got a whole team behind you, like Gary
Yes.
Vee does.
Yes.
Um, And although I mean we've got our team behind us that helps with sending out content as well, but it's the same. Like you need to be able to start from somewhere and then build that up, because I do find that there's almost like this pressure to have the Gary Vee effect in everything that we're doing in terms of content everywhere, like in 500 different channels.
Yeah.
But we've got to realize with the resources we have and the time we have,
Mm.
again, just being consistent, at least in one, maybe two platforms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And having a system in place.
Exactly.
Mm.
And the way I like to see it is taking a small step, but actually taking that step is better
Yeah.
than trying to take a huge, massive step and then staying exactly where you are. So it's like instead of trying to do too many things at the same time, just make it as simple for yourself as possible. Because as soon as we try to do too many things at once, often they all fall off the bandwagon. So we've found exactly the easiest way is to just be like, what's the minimum that I could do? Could I make
Mm.
1 3-minute video a week of me talking about or talking about the solution to a problem one of my clients had?
Yeah.
Could like do you have is that something that you can stick to? And if you can do that for 3 or 4 weeks, then you're like, oh, maybe I can do 2 videos a week, and your
Mm.
confidence goes up and you start to enjoy it a little bit as well. Because as you see yourself hitting those goals of even if it's 1 3-minute video a week,
Mm.
you hit that 3 4 weeks in a row and you have 4 pieces of content at the end of the month, that feels really good.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's four more than you had before.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you mentioned a few times 2 to 3 minutes. Is that a special length?
Not particularly. More emphasizing they don't need to be big, long how
Mm.
tos, perfect lighting and scripting everything out. And it doesn't need to be extravagant. You just need to be yourself and be talking about a valuable lesson that your clients need to hear, or that people who are like your clients need to hear.
Mm. Mm. One thing that I found that I struggled with at the start was the end bit. Like, how do I
Mm.
wrap it up? You know what I mean? Do I wrap it up with a hope you liked it, or have a great day, or a call to action?
Mhm.
What is there a trick around that?
Definitely. I like to wrap up the candid content with a what I call a soft call to action.
Yeah.
And that call to action is it's not a come on a discovery call and
Mm.
buy. It's
Mm.
um, if you'd like to learn more, comment below. If you can invite people to join your group, like if you want more info, join this group. It's something very soft, a very small action that people can take if they watched your video, read your post, and want a little bit more from you. Give them just one tiny step to take, whether it's join a group,
Mm.
ask a question. Uh, Often we'll offer something, so we'll say, we've like for example, one that we're creating at the moment is uh, like how to use power words in your video.
Mm.
And so what's happening at the moment is we're creating a little document that has a list of different power words you can use in the video. So it's like and it's very simple. It's very, very simple things. And then at the end of that content post, it's if you'd like a little breakdown of an example of all of these power words, comment and we'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that we didn't do for a long time. And then we got told by one of our mentors, put a call to action at the end of your
Yeah.
content because otherwise people won't respond. You need to actually tell them
What to do?
what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
Exactly.
encourage them if they want to take action of some sort, because
Exactly.
sometimes they don't. But and I've seen the videos that you guys have done, and I'm probably one of those that'll be like, yes, power. Yes, me. Me. But obviously, it's very effective the way that you've done it without the hard sell. But it's really more, hey, if you do find this helpful, comment below. So, how often in when you're delivering content do you? And I know a lot of people go give, sell, give, sell. Do you sort of undertake that sort of format as well?
Yeah, so ours is sort of, we roughly go by the 80-20. So 80% give and then 20%, like we call it like a exactly hard call to action of like, this is an offer.
Mm.
It's an offer that we put out there. We don't, we don't monitor it religiously. So, you know, every eight posts and then there's
Yep.
two. We we more go, but we go by that general rule of 80-20. Majority is either educational or story content, or entertainment content as well, because
Yes.
people like that, people like that too. And then the approximately 20% is that that offer. Hey, I have this opportunity. If this sounds like you, and specify a few criteria. Yeah, same, comment below, and we'll have a chat and see if we can help.
Fantastic. And just to finish off, Renee, are there any websites, software, things of, that help our lives? Because we're all about, what can we do to make our lives easier and business sort of more efficient. Do you
Mhm.
use any tools in your sort of content creation, or any tips or around that?
Yeah, so I'm quite simple when it comes to software. I use a software called Miro, which is more of a brainstorm kind of software
Yeah.
where you can put multiple ideas onto a canvas and you can create diagrams. And so I can see, I've created the process of, you know, idea from a client,
Mm,
goes into a short written content
mm,
piece, goes into a video,
mm.
post on LinkedIn, post on Facebook, sent out in an email. Like, you can create those sort of systems for yourself where it's just
Yes,
easy. And
absolutely.
then, yeah, and then another, um,
How do you spell that? Was that
Miro,
Miro
Miro.
app?
Yes.
Best online whiteboard tool. Yes, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's it's been a game changer for us.
Wow. Okay, great. I like
Yeah.
that. Um, Beautiful. And then also just like scheduling tools. Do you use that much yourself?
We don't use too many scheduling tools at the moment. We haven't found one that has suited our specific needs, but as soon
Mm,
as I find one, I'll let you know. Um, we've tried a few of the traditional ones, but we found they were a little bit buggy. Um, and we at the moment we just use the normal scheduling tools, but often the creation process is very quick. So we'll create the video and then post it almost immediately, or
okay, yeah.
we'll we write the post and just and put it out there.
Yes.
Because if you think about it too much, you won't post it.
Yes. What do they call analysis paralysis? So
Yes.
you don't really think there's a need to have the even the header and the subtitles in the videos, just sort of get it out there.
I think if you're struggling to, say you haven't put content, say you've put nothing out for a month or 2 months, I
Mm,
would start simple. If you're
mm,
already creating lots of content and you want to make it better, then I can, and you have the time. It really comes down to the time that you can put into it.
yeah.
Um, I mean, videos, if you can put a header in it, if you can put sub captions in it, that's amazing and it's really, really helpful. But I don't want that to stop people
Yes.
from
Yeah.
creating, because they're like, oh, well, I can't think of a headline, or it's
Yes.
going to take too long, or I don't know what to do. There's so many variables, and just take it down to the simplest possible thing, which is you talking to a camera about an experience that, or a problem that you've had, your clients has had, and then how you solved it. So
Excellent.
it's about keeping it simple.
Yes. So that's the number one takeaway. Keep it
Yes,
simple
yes,
and just do it.
yes, just do it.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much, Renee, for having a tea. You haven't even had any tea while I was just here sipping away.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. I think there were definitely some nuggets there. Sean has left a few little messages on Facebook. He says collecting heaps of nuggets and he's looking out for Cheryl's newest nuggets.
Awesome.
Nuggets everywhere. And so it's been great. And even from that conversation, like you said, there are a few things there that people can take away themselves,
Hmm.
or you can repurpose. I'll repurpose. We'll just repurpose away.
Yeah,
Excellent.
exactly. It's what it's all about.
All good. Well, you take care of yourself. Thank you so much for the catch
Yeah,
up, and we'll
thank you so
see you again
much.
very, very soon. You keep well.
Yeah, you too.
All
Appreciate
right.
the time, Cheryl.
Thank you. Oh, and just before everyone leaves, I did almost forget. There is a call to action. Wait a
Oh,
minute.
yes.
We have, if anyone wants to, this is an amazing group that Umbrella 90 have put together, which is called Let's Talk Legacy. Let's Talk Legacy. I love the nuggets that are rolled out in here. So if anyone wants to be part of a group of legacy makers, it's the place to go.
Fantastic. And if anyone wants any more of that information, just comment and we'll be in touch.
Exactly. Good one.
Yeah.
I like that. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. You take
Thanks,
care. Bye,
heaps,
Renee.
Cheryl.
Ciao,
You
ciao.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye.